Hi guys, it's J-Rod with J-Rod Garage. As most everybody that grew up in the 90s that liked cars had an infatuation with 90s imports. Supras, RX-7s, 300ZX, Acura NSXs, 3000 GTs, so forth. So before the internet, for those of you that weren't alive before the internet, we had magazines. Magazines were the way that we got our content. So growing up, we would kind of go to the newsstand, we'd buy the latest and greatest magazine. For me, this magazine always stood out to me because these are the cars that I love, couldn't fathom owning one day, and they took all of them and they put them into one magazine. It's the July 1993 Motor Trend magazine. Now I'm 30, 32 years old. I own these cars. I own some of my dream cars as a kid. So I reached out to some of my local friends that also own these cars, and we're going to take this magazine and completely recreate one of the greatest Motor Trend issues, in my opinion, of all time. We've got a stock Supra, automatic, a stock 6-speed Supra, a modified Supra, a stock RX-7, a modified RX-7. We have a modified VR4, we have a stock VR4, as well as all the other cars from the NSX to the 300ZX. We also threw a couple curveballs in there. I added a 1991 GMC Syclone, which to me, if you're talking about 90s great cars, you can't leave out the Syclone. The Syclone in 1991 came out, it was an all-wheel drive V6 turbo truck that dominated the street. The thing went 4.3 seconds 0 to 60, and in 1991, that was hella fast. We're talking faster than the Corvette, faster than the 300ZX, the RX-7, anything around back then. It was faster. It was even faster than the 348 Ferrari at the time. We also threw an Integra Type R in there. You can't talk about cult classic tuner cars without the Integra Type R. Luckily, we had a good friend of ours, local Vin, who had an extremely clean yellow car. It's far from stock. It makes about 500 to 600 wheel horsepower. Amazing car. And we took all those cars and we recreated it. So in the Motor Trend magazine, they had professional drivers on a closed course in ideal conditions. We're going to be doing it on the street with not ideal conditions and not professional drivers. Some of these guys have never even made a quarter-mile pass in their car. These results will not be as stated in Motor Trend. These cars are 20 years old now. They have wear, tear, the rings are a little bit looser, they got blow-by, spark blowout issues, but these are real cars, these are real owners and real enthusiasts. Please sit back and enjoy this video and watch it as much as we had shooting it, because this is a really cool series we're going to be doing, and it's going to display some of the greatest 90s car culture of all time. So stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing you guys.
This is a really special car to me. This is one of those cars that I've always wanted. I haven't ever found the exact example I want to buy yet. This is a 2000 Integra Type R. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find a stock one. Finding a stock Integra is kind of like a unicorn. I've known Vin for over 10 years. He's an old school Oklahoma guy that's been on the streets for a very, very long time. Back in the late 2000s, we raced together quite a bit. Obviously, life happens. We have kids, so we've kind of haven't kept up as much as we have, over the last couple of years. But this car is pretty badass. It's 500 to 600, 700 horsepower depending on boost. It's got some of the coolest old school spoon Mugen parts on it. Vin, if you want to come on, tell us a little bit more about this car, because I'm kind of dumb when it comes to the Honda stuff. But, hey, good seeing you, sir. Tell us a little bit more about the car.
So it's a 2000 Integra Type R. It was a 1.8 liter, but we bored it out to a 2.0. It's a turbo car, built block, built head, running on a 62 turbo, and it's running on E85.
And what engine management is it on?
It's on Honda S300.
And what's your best time? I know you haven't probably taken it to the track in a while, but what's your best time?
I've actually never ran this car at the track, so it's making right around 550 horsepower and 25 pounds of boost. So estimating maybe running maybe 10th or so.
What do you think it'll do today on this lovely surface we're trying to make?
11s or 12s.
Okay, well, so what are your plans for the car? Are you going to keep it where it's at? I mean, I know it's been in this exact configuration for a long time. Are you going to put a bigger turbo, bigger motor, or just kind of leave it where it's at?
Probably just keep it where it's at. It got tuned by Tony down at T1 Race Development about 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it runs every day, it starts, so probably just keep it where it's at and not make any changes from here.
Tony knows what he's doing for sure. He came from the Integra world, now he does the badass GTR stuff. So, well, hey man, I love the car. Thank you so much for having us. Hey guys, this is the 91 GMC Syclone. It's my personal truck. I bought this truck out of West Texas from the original owner. It was pretty rough shape when I bought it. Mechanically it was sound, but the paint was completely roached off of it. It sit out there in the West Texas sun. It got hail damage, and we brought it back to life slowly but surely. This truck has always been a bucket list. My buddy in college had one. I always wanted one, and they're just so rare. That truck popped up at the right time for me. We went out to West Texas and we made a deal. The truck is 100% stock. It has has an aftermarket set of tires on it, and it has an MSD coil on it. That's it. Other than that, it's 100% stock. I don't know what it'll run. I think at the track we went 14.2 or 14.1 last year when I very first picked it up. So we'll see what it goes there. But my plans for the truck are we're going to do a pretty serious build on it. We're going to do a build transmission. We're going to do a filled block. Mainly it's going to hook it up and put some rods and pistons in it for us, valve train. We're going to put the Vortec heads, convert the lower intake manifold. We'll probably do a 6870 Gen 2 on the truck. We're going to try to keep it on stock ECU for now. Ultimate goal is a high 9 load 10-second daily driver with air conditioning. Obviously reliability and Syclone doesn't really go in the same sentence together, but we're going to do the best we can at it and we'll see what we do.
Quarter mile.
Alright, so this is actually a car I've never seen before. It's a Celica GT4. In the United States, they call them Celica All-tracs. This one's a little different. It's a World Rally car. You know, back in the 90s, Toyota raced this car in the World Rally Car Championship. They're turbo all-wheel drive. They're very cool cars. They have the 3S GTE engine. Same thing that's like in the MR2, I believe. Brian, friend of ours, I mean, I've known this guy a long time. I haven't really spent a lot of time around him, but we'll bring him in and he can tell us a little bit more about the car. Thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Yeah, so like you said, this is a ST205. They made these from 94 to 99, but this one specifically is a WRC model. In 1994, for them to enter the rally, they had to make 2,500 street legal versions of them. So this is one of them. So you only see about 2,500 of these ever. We got one here in the US. I think I'm actually the first one in Oklahoma City to have a 205. That's the WRC edition. But like you said, it's, you know, it's got the 3S GTE, the same ones that you typically find in the MR2s, and a little bit different features that make it a WRC in general.
So tell me a little bit about this like nostril looking thing on the hood.
So, you know, like this right here is ventilation for just cooling and intercooler and whatnot, but that nostril out there is actually to help cool the timing.
Okay.
You know, so
what are your goals with the car? Do you have big goals? You're going to build it? You're going to keep it stock?
you know, I've got other projects. I do have a ST185, which is the 90 to 93 All-trac. That one's going to be like, you know, the big horsepower guy there. But this one, I just really loved it. Again, growing up playing video games, I've seen these all the time. So I'm just going to leave it all stock. It needs a little bit TLC, but you know, I've already got all the brand new seals and gaskets and everything to pull the motor and refreshen it up. It's only got 77,000 miles on it, so we're just going to leave it as is and, you know, see what happens.
Yeah, this will definitely be a collector's car in the near future. So obviously we're going to put drag in it. What do you think it'll run?
You know, it's typically, if you find online, they run about 14.2.
Okay.
It depends on, you know, the clutch and how the transmission holds up. But
and obviously today it's real muggy. Our DA is over 5,000 feet. So these cars aren't going to run optimal, but I'm really excited to see this car down the track because I've never seen it go. Well, I appreciate you bringing it out, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So we're going to bring in my good friend Oki GTR. I've known him for about 10 years. I've known him since I was actually in college and he was driving a Subaru. This is his badass GTR and this is Oki GTR. Good seeing you, sir.
Hey Rod, thank you, sir.
No
Thanks
problem,
for the
sir.
invite.
Tell us a little bit about this awesome car and kind of what makes it special and what got you into GTRs.
95 Skyline GTR, R33. It's I've had the car for approximately 11 years. Started out bone stock, Midnight
nice.
Purple 1. Color that's on it now is Midnight Purple 2, which was an R34 color.
Okay.
For just 1 year. That's why you can import the R34s, the 99s in under show and display, is because they made under 300 in this color.
Ah, okay.
The car itself just came out of a 2-year complete restoration. Frames off, subframes off, everything underneath has been powder coated, painted, zinc plated.
Man, I feel bad now you had to drive in this rain.
All new bushings, bearings, seals, pretty much everything. The motor was built at Alamo Auto Sports in Arlington. It's complete. It's been punched up a little bit. It's an RB27 now.
Okay. So it's a little bigger.
Yeah, Garrett GT 2860-5 turbos with the billet wheel upgrades on them. Whole bunch of Grady stuff, whole bunch of Tomei stuff.
So all the good 90s stuff.
Yeah, all the good 90s stuff.
What fuel does it run on?
Right now it's running on pump gas.
93, 91?
93, 91, either or.
For everybody that's not in Oklahoma, we have 91 and it sucks. So we can't have the great 93 everybody else has.
And it's got the AEM water meth system on it.
So that should help.
Yeah, it helps out a lot. Just during the rebuild, I had a chance to come across some new old stock Recaro Crayola material and had the factory seats redone with
Very
that
cool.
just really wild, crazy patterns and all that, just to kind of keep with the theme a little bit. The hood is one of one in the United States right now. It actually was used by HKS whenever I first saw it on one of their R33s.
Very cool.
And I looked for about 8 years until I finally found it. And then it took me another 2 years to get the money up to get it.
Wow. That's a pretty special piece of the car then.
Yeah, it's a 1x1 weave and you can see through it.
So the power that the car is making today?
The power the car is making today is 411 on the ground, still on the break-in tune at 15 PSI.
Okay.
At that level, those turbos are just now starting to come in.
wake up.
Yeah, starting to wake up. And it really stinks whenever you're in it good and hard and it just goes whoomp, boom.
Right. So obviously you're making that now. What are your plans for the car? How far do you plan on turning it up?
We're going to turn them up to the top edge of their efficiency, which is about 26 PSI.
600-700 horsepower?
So it should be 600 on the ground, easy.
New GTR, baby. Drive it, Skyline.
Obviously, most of you guys know what this car is. This is a Nissan Skyline. It was never offered in the United States, but obviously with the import laws, once cars reach 25 years or older, you can start bringing them into the United States. So we're able to start seeing a few more here and there. But in Oklahoma, we don't have that many. It's not a real popular car, or it's not that popular car in the United States yet. But this one's actually GTS. It's a rear-wheel drive RB25 single turbo. The owner, Brian, if you want to come on and tell us a little bit more about the car, because I don't know a lot about Skylines, he'll be able to tell us a lot more about the car. Hey, thanks for coming out.
No problem. Like most kids growing up, you know, you played Gran Turismo, you wanted the Skyline. So as soon as it came legal, wasn't a big fan of the 32. So when the 33 became legal, I imported through Top Rank out of California, sight unseen. And like you said, it is a GTS, but it has the GTS-25T engine swap in it.
Okay.
Which a lot of people throw off because it is 4-lug, which I plan on converting. You can buy the whole subframe, bigger brakes, LSD rear end.
So what are your plans for the car? Are you going to put a bigger turbo on it, build it?
Yeah, I'd like to do the top mount, so show it off, because on the RB25 it's kind of tucked underneath it, you really don't see it. Now another difference between the GTS-T and the GTR, the GTR has forward-facing intakes.
Okay.
And GTS has what's called, it's a J-shaped. It goes over the valve covers and goes back around.
Okay.
And when you front mount intercooler, is piping everywhere.
So it's kind of like doing a turbo swap on a GE Supra then. It's kind of
it's the same thing. I'm guessing it all bolts in. You swap the computer.
Yep.
Everything kind of bolts back in. It's only on 5 pounds.
5 pounds? Okay.
I got it. I'm slowly building up all the products to up the boost. We'll see.
It'd be really cool. It's definitely an eye catcher. I love the white on gold. When I first got it from it had paint peeling, dents everywhere. I painted it in my garage. Then I threw some of the gold pearl to kind of bring the gold in there.
It looks great, man. Well, I appreciate you bringing it out.
Hey, no problem.
Let's
Thanks
see
for
what
having
you
me.
got. All right, so obviously when we're trying to recreate this legendary shot that Motor Trend did back in the 90s, we needed to find stock examples of cars. Finding a stock Supra these days is not the easiest thing. 20 years go by, people modify them. We found the closest what we could find in Oklahoma. We found a friend of ours named Daniel with a bone stock one, which is pretty legendary. And then we found Andy here local. It's a bolt-on single turbo car, I believe. CCW Classics, phenomenal looking car. He owns a local fabrication shop called One Up Fabricating. He does a lot of local stuff, catch cans. If you guys need anything, be sure and hit him up. But we'll bring Andy in and kind of tell us a little bit about this car. Obviously, this is a platform I know a little bit about. So we're gonna let Andy tell me what he likes about this car and what his future plans are.
It's a 95 Toyota Supra. It was originally an NA car. I bought it out of Houston about 4 years ago. I had the GTE motor in my 240 SX at the time. I used it to compete drifting down in Texas, but I wanted to add a little bit more power in the car, so I took the car in the shop, did the GTE swap. It already had the 6262 single turbo on it. It's running an R154 AEM V2 ECU. It's ready for more power. It's going to be coming probably this winter. I just got the car painted about 1.5 years ago and then full clear brawl. And so it'll probably be making around 500 this this winter. It's a little different than most Supras. This one I actually is my daily driver, so I drive it every single day to work, and you know it's just a fun car to drive, and it runs really well, and it gets a lot of attention for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Supers do anyway.
Yeah.
So after you put the bigger injectors and so forth in it, you turn the boost up. You're hoping to make 500-600 wheels.
Yeah, 500. Yeah.
Will the R154 hold that? Because I'm not too familiar.
Yeah,
with that transmission.
R154s will hold that. Yeah.
And then what color was the car originally?
No, it was Renaissance Red originally.
Renaissance Red.
Yeah. It was actually the least color I wanted. I wanted an anthracite, but you kind of can't be too picky, you know, at the supermarket. The price keeps going up.
Absolutely. And it's a Target car, it looks like?
Yeah, it is a Target car.
You ever pop the Target car off?
Yeah, I do it sometimes when the weather's nice.
It's a lot of fun. And your wife has a GTR too, right?
Yeah, she has an 09 GTR, and it's slightly modified. It's faster than my car, so it kind of
sucks. So you guys do like couples date nights sometimes?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. That's pretty cool. Well, awesome, man. I really appreciate you bringing it
All
out.
right,
It's
thanks,
a beautiful
man.
car.
platform that I know a lot about. This is actually a 1992 VR4. For those of you that don't know exactly what a VR4 is, it's kind of the upper end level of 3000 GT. They made 3 trim levels. They made a base, an SL, and a VR4. This car was produced from 1991 to 1999. In the earlier years, they had things like the active aero spoiler that actually moves at a certain mile an hour, all-wheel steering, and so forth. These cars came with like 300 horsepower. They were all-wheel drive and twin turbo. They were a 3-liter V6. In the earlier years, 91 to 93, they had an 18-spline 5-speed transmission. Going forth from 94 to 99, they were updated with a GetTrack 6-speed and a 25-spline output shaft mated with a transfer case. As the car got older, it aged pretty well, but there's a lot of technology in this car that kind of plagued it. It made it an extremely expensive car and really heavy. These cars are almost 4,000 pounds. So people always ask me, why didn't I keep my VR4 and keep building it? Well, the simple answer is weight. These engines don't make a lot of power when they're fully, maxed out, let's say like a 2J, and these cars are just so damn heavy. This is Sean's car. Today is the first day I've ever met Sean, but he's a fellow VR4 guy. Thank you for coming. He's going to tell us a little bit more about the car. So what exactly is done to this car?
I had it built from the bottom up on the engine. We have all the internals been redone. It's got 3 executioner turbos on it, ready front mount. 680 injectors, pushing about, I would say about 450 horses at 18 to 20 psi.
And what fuel is it on?
Just pumping at 91.
It's on pump gas right now? Yep. And it's a stock ECU, is that what you're using to fit it with? Okay. And then what's your best time out of the car? What have you ran? I know you told me you had some older turbos.
When I did have the DR750s on it, and at the Tulsa Drags, we got her up to about 10.5, 10.8.
So what are your end goals with this? To be faster, or are you going to keep it more in the daily driver, more reliable range? Because obviously these cars aren't the most reliable.
Right now, I'd love to have it still stockish looking daily driver, but at the same point, the sleeper look to her, where it's one of those, you don't know what's under the hood until it hits you.
Yeah, but see, this car is kind of rare. It actually has VR4 Spider wheels. So they made the Spider in 95 and 96. It was a hardtop convertible, and these are actually the Spider wheels. They're actually V17s. Is that what they are? Yeah, 17. So it's a really pretty car and a great example of the VR4. I appreciate you bringing this over.